We be live. Shalom, shalom, everyone. How's everyone doing? Have you liked the stream? Like it right now. If you haven't, hi D. I see the live chat is already filled with people. That's great. Usually we have to wait for the live chat to be filled, but it's busy already, guys. Thank you for being here. First of all, happy Atheist Day. I hope you guys have knew that it was Atheist Day today. March 23rd is Atheist Day. I hope you guys, if you haven't, please make sure whether you are an atheist or not, please make sure that that you go and find an atheist. If you don't know an atheist, find an atheist and say Happy Atheist Day to them. If it's safe where you're at to do so. We want to make sure that it doesn't matter if you're an atheist or you're not an atheist. Atheist Day is an opportunity for you to make atheists feel like they are welcomed, that they are being an atheist is not taboo, that they are accepted as part of society, that you, if you're a religious person, that you do not wish any animosity or hatred towards them, that you could befriend them, and just tell them Happy Atheist Day on March 23rd. And if you are atheist, then Happy Atheist to you. Yes, guys, Happy Atheist Day to everyone. Today, March 23rd, is the International Day for Atheists. Thank you, everyone. Guys, that's very sweet. People in the live chat telling Happy Atheist Day to each other. That's very sweet. Thank you. And also, Angry Keyboard Warrior, thank you for being a member, becoming a member. I appreciate that. And FLP saying, hi, all. Happy Atheist Day to all atheists. Yes, exactly. And again, guys, remember, Happy Atheist Day is non-atheists can participate by finding an atheist, or calling their atheist friend, or telling their atheist friend or family members that they appreciate them, they welcome them, and they accept them the way they are. Okay, thank you. All right, so Angry Keyboard Warrior, thank you so much for that. All right, let's go to Iran, because before it was Atheist Day, a couple of days ago, we already had a show on Iranian New Year. It's not just Iranian New Year, it's also Persian and Kurdish New Year. The reason why we have to say Persian and Kurdish is not because we're being exclusive, okay? Because a lot of people are like, why are you saying Persian New Year? It's a New Year for all Iranians. Well, it's actually Iranians and Persians and Kurds, Persian-speaking people and Kurdish people outside of Iran's borders as well. So it's not just for Iranians, okay? Persian-speaking people around the world celebrate New Year, not just Iranians, right? So, I got a membership to celebrate Atheist Day. Angry Keyboard Warrior. Oh, thank you so much. All right, so I appreciate that. Let's get to the topic of the show, because, guys, I don't know if you guys noticed, but things escalated on Iranian New Year in Iran, on Persian New Year in Iran. It escalated to a whole new level, and I will have to explain to you why it escalated, because it's not just that the people came out and protested and chanted against the government in large numbers. It's not that. It's not just that. It is that, but it's not just that. The nature of the chants were significantly different, and it means that things have escalated to new levels. Oh, hi Nima, happy Atheist Day. I wonder, like, I know already the Iranians in the live chat already know this, but I want to see how many people in the chat who are not Iranians. Oh yeah, so yeah, guys, Jackie's saying, where's Susie? It's Sunday, so Susie is traveling, so she's not going to be with us for this week and next week. That's why yeah, she already mentioned this. Okay, I think she didn't she? Yeah, so she can't make it, but I'm picking up for her, so don't worry, I'm here. I fill in the gaps, but yeah, she will be back. She's just traveling. Okay, so, but anyways, guys, how many people in the chat on our chat know this? Yeah, Susie is in our hearts. Yes. By the way, if you have any contact with Susie, message her. Tell her Happy Atheist Day. Okay, you're Canadian. Okay, let me just, so I'm not saying anybody knows about this other than the Iranians. People don't seem to know about this. All right, let me give you the context. Okay, during the New Year, many Iranians, so there's two competing identities in Iran. It's the patriotic, nationalistic Iranian identity versus the religious Islamic identity. These have been the two competing narratives in Iran, and in the past couple of years, maybe even forever, the patriotic, nationalistic narrative identity has been basically decimating and destroying and annihilating and humiliating None of this is an exaggeration. The Islamic religious identity. Okay, so the Iranian people, the Islamic Revolution of 1979, one of its project, one of its attempts was to crush the Persian heritage, the ancient culture of Iran, and anything that is not Islamic. And it has failed bigly. It has failed bigly. One, I'm going to tell you the parts that has been the case in every New Year, and then I'm going to tell you what has been different about this New Year. Okay. So one thing that annoys the regime officials is the deep love and appreciation that the Iranian people have for their culture and their heritage and their history, that the part that is not Islamic, right? And during the New Year, people come in mass numbers in places, in cultural places in Iran, that is about their heritage, that is not about the holy Shia shrines. Or so when it comes to cultural centers, we have the Iranian cultural centers, basically nationalistic, patriotic ones, and then we have the religious ones. The religious ones are the shrines, the Shia shrines. For example, the Imam Reza shrine in Mashhad, okay, for example, right? And religious people, to show that they are many, they go there in vast numbers to show, like, look, we're still here, we're still relevant, right? But in competition to that, Iranian people who are more patriotic minded, or and again, I know this not like this is a spectrum. I don't want to simplify it to just like nationalistic or religious, but people, it's a spectrum, so it's not black and white. But people more and more are going away from the religious Islamic identity towards the patriotic nationalistic identity, and the centers of culture associated with that is usually the resting place, the burial center places of famous Persian poets, right? And also, very importantly, Takht Jamshid, or as foreigners know it by Persepolis, which is the palace of the ancient Achaemenid empire, right? So these are the cultural centers that people associate with being Iranian rather than being Muslim. Okay, so what you're saying in this video, everybody's on the same page. Like some idiots come here and say, like, Armin, why are you explaining this very simply? Like, we get it. Uh, shut up. I try to make sure that I explain things in the way that people who are not even familiar with these things, they are with us, right? So that they don't lose the point, so that everybody is on the same page. If you already get it really fast and you want me to just move on and say these faster, you're a selfish prick who is not being considerate to other people. So I don't, you could fuck off. But like, everybody is on the same page. We're good. Like, everybody understands this. Okay, so here, and in this video, for example, we have Hafiziyah, or the burial ground of a famous Persian poet, Hafiz, right? By the way, if I say anything incorrectly, there are many Iranians in the chat who will correct me. Oh, Iranian Zionists here in the chat saying Iranian. Oh, never mind. Iranian Eastern Azerbaijan community for Pahlavi Shah. Okay, yeah, this is a spoiler alert, because this is what I'm going to be demonstrating regarding why this year's Nowruz. Nowruz is the name of the day that is the New Year day in Iranian calendar, or the Persian calendar. And this Nowruz, the protests were a lot more radical than any other protest that we had before. And the connection is to Pahlavi, right? So let's play this video. This video, even though it's gorgeous, the chants here are not the chants that I want to show you regarding why things have been escalating, because this chant, as good as it is, if I'm correct, let me play it and I'll see if I'm correct about it. As good as this chant is not the escalation that I'm referring to. So let's listen to the chants, people coming out for Nowruz in front of the burial ground of our famous poet Hafiz, and let's see what they say. So people here are chanting Reza Shah Ruhat Shah. Reza Shah Ruhat Shah. All right, so this is sending a blessing to the spirit of the former king of Iran. So remember the Pahlavi dynasty that came in Iran, that was the ruling dynasty before the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The Pahlavi dynasty had two kings before the Pahlavi dynasty collapsed, right? So we had Reza Shah, which is King Reza Pahlavi, and then the second Pahlavi was Muhammad Reza Shah, or Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, Pahlavi being his last name. So these were the two kings, and then the third Pahlavi, who is now the crown prince, Muhammad Reza. So we had Reza Pahlavi, Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, and then Reza Pahlavi again. So the Reza Pahlavi was the first king of Pahlavi. Second king is Muhammad Reza Pahlavi. Third prince, who is not, who many Iranians want to go back to Iran and become king again and bring the Pahlavi dynasty back. His name is Reza Pahlavi, just like his grandfather. But he's the crown prince out in the United States, outside of Iran. After the Islamic Revolution, he left Iran. Him and his father left Iran, right? So this chant is referring to Reza Pahlavi, the first Pahlavi king, and people are saying Reza Shah, King Reza Shah, may your spirit be happy. Okay, may your spirit be happy. So it's a blessing to the memory of Reza Shah. People are celebrating Reza Shah, basically celebrating the Pahlavi dynasty, who built Iran, who took Iran from the Qajar dynasty, in which Iranian people were in poverty, they were uneducated. Iran was a very backwards country during the Qajar dynasty, and the Pahlavi dynasty inherited that from the Qajar dynasty and turned it into a very modern, advanced country. And Iranian people, the vast majority of Iranian people, associate the Pahlavi dynasty with one of the greatest blessings to the Iranian people ever, until the 1979 Islamic Revolution happened. So this chant, saying Reza Shah, Ruhat Shah, blessing basically the previous Pahlavi king, is a huge fuck you to the Islamic Republic, to the Islamic regime. I shouldn't even call it a republic. To the Islamic regime that is currently ruling, because they are the Islamic the 1979 Islamic Revolution was against the Pahlavi dynasty. So when people in the streets are celebrating the Pahlavi dynasty, they're basically saying a big fuck you to the Islamic Republic. However, this chant, even though it was on Nowruz, it's not the chant that I wanted to show you, because Reza Shah Ruhat Shah used to be a radical chant among protesters. However, it's not a radical chant anymore, because we have heard this chant for a couple of years now among Iranian people. So this was not an example of the escalation that I wanted to show you, even though this is a good chant and we welcome it. We love this chant, but I will show you the other chants that was heard for you to see why this was radical. Oh yes, Jean is actually very bringing up a very good point. Jean is saying, and this is during Ramadan. Yes, basically Iranian people were not supposed to celebrate because this is Ramadan. However, it's actually worse than just being Ramadan, Jean. This year Nowruz coincided with the death of Imam Ali. The death of Imam Ali. So many people, many officials were warning people that you do not celebrate Nowruz this year because there's nothing to celebrate. This is the annual, the time of the year that we're supposed to be sad for Imam Ali died. So it was even more it was a bigger fuck you to the regime that so many thousands and thousands of Iranians came into the streets to celebrate Nowruz. Nowruz is bigger than Ali. Yes, exactly. Basically, no, they weren't. In fact, there were. I saw two types of reactions. So people were saying like, we don't care that Ali died today. Today is Nowruz, so we're going to celebrate. But we also had Iranians that said like, actually, this causes for double celebration. We had many Iranians who were saying like, oh wow, you're saying today is Nowruz and also the death of Ali. So the reason why most years they don't coincide with each other, but this year they did, is because the Persian calendar is based on a solar calendar, But the Islamic calendar is a lunar calendar. So the lunar calendar moves the days, like for example, Ramadan is sometimes in summer and sometimes it's in winter, right? However, Nowruz, because the Persian calendar is based on a solar calendar, Nowruz is always in the beginning of spring. So the Islamic calendar moves, but the Persian calendar stays in this every season in the right place, right? So that's why this year, the death of Ali basically got like last year was not the same day as Nowruz, but this year it was because it moves. It's a stupid calendar, basically what I'm saying, right? A calendar, the Islamic calendar is a fucking dumb calendar. Lunar calendars, because they don't stay in one place. Like Ramadan, for example, sometimes it's in the middle of the winter and sometimes it's in the middle of summer. Like what the hell? Like stay steady, right? So that's it. Anyways, so let me go to the next to wait, hold on. John is saying, thank you, John, for the being a 10-month member, saying, I know Zenz and the Gyozadi. What's the second part? Okay, those are old chants, okay? Zenz and the Gyozadi, Mad Mihan Obadi, that's the second part. They are not radical anymore. Like, they're not as important as these new chants that I'm telling you today. Because Zenz and the Gyozadi is old, is not it's not in fashion anymore, okay? Because they're not radical enough, okay? Let me show you what their radical chants are, okay? So this is the burial ground of Ferdowsi, and Ferdowsi, I would say, for patriotic Iranians is more important than even Hafiz, right? So Hafiz was the first one that I showed you was the burial ground of Hafiz. This one that I'm showing you now is the burial ground of Ferdowsi. Ferdowsi is famous for writing Shahnameh, and he's famous. Shahnameh is a book of poetry, and he's very loved by Iranians, especially because the book of Shahnameh was written with only Persian words, meaning nothing. Like Ferdowsi went out of his way 1,000 years ago to write a book of Persian poetry of the kings, with zero Arabic words used within it. And Ferdowsi is credited for basically reviving and safekeeping the Persian language, and him being, with his book and his poetry, being responsible for Iran not being Arabized, right? So a lot of Iranian nationalists and patriots consider Ferdowsi and his book Shahnameh, which means Letter of the Kings, like to be the symbol, his book to be a symbol of Iranian patriotism. And for example, this Nowruz and many other Nowruz, I mean, I remember our family never put the Quran, like when you have the Nowruz have seen, a lot of people put the Quran there to celebrate Nowruz, but many Iranians, including my family, for decades ago, but now even more today, they wouldn't put a Quran on their have seen. They would put the Shahnameh or Khayyam's book on their have seen. Anyway, so that's the position of this poet, right? So and this is his burial ground. That whole building, that giant building, stone building that you saw, you see, that's the burial ground. Like for example, let me actually go to the previous video. You see that building in the middle? That is the burial ground of Hafez. Now, this is the burial ground of Ferdowsi, the poet, the famous symbol of patriotism in Iran, right? Everybody understands what we're saying? Like, let me know if you're confused or not. So let's listen to the chant here, and look how bold and radical. Look how bold and radical this chant is. Listen to this. So they're chanting King Reza Pahlavi. King Reza Pahlavi, meaning not Reza Shah, not the Reza Shah who's dead. King Reza Pahlavi is referring to the current crown prince, which I will actually I have him today to show you his. Let me actually show this right now. This is him. So I will show this to you guys today. This is him. I will show you his New Year message. So this is Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former king Muhammad Reza Shah, right? So there are three Pahlavis, right? Reza Shah, Muhammad Reza Shah, and now him, Reza Pahlavi. So when they're chanting King Reza Pahlavi, they're referring to wanting him to come back to Iran and become king and continue the Pahlavi dynasty. That's what that chant represents. Let me explain to you why this is a major escalation. So this chant, why did I not consider this chant a major escalation? Because so many people have been chanting Reza Shah Ruet Shah to celebrate the former king, and many leftists and reformists suggest that that always suggested that this chant that had become popular in Iran that refers to the former Pahlavi king is not, it's not a request for Iranians to go back to the Pahlavi dynasty. It's just a nostalgic it basically it shows a failure of the current Islamic Republic, Islamic regime, but not necessarily a wish for us, for Iranians, to actually either topple the regime or to actually continue the Pahlavi. It was basically, he was good for his time. Yes, a lot of Iranians recognize that, but this is not a direct request to topple the regime and bring the Pahlavis back. That's what a lot of leftists and a lot of reformists would try to suggest with this chant that you heard here in the first video that I showed you. But now, and that's why a lot of supporters of Reza Pahlavi, the crown prince, were suggesting to the Iranian people that say his name. Don't just say Javid Shah, meaning long live the king. Don't just say celebrate the former two Pahlavis. Mention the living Pahlavi, Reza Pahlavi, and say his name so nobody could mistake what you're asking for, right? So you heard, I have another video in the same location, but with the same chant. Listen to this. See, people, and guys, this is completely organic. None of this was organized. Nobody commanded from the top down. It wasn't, it's a bottom-up approach. Like, nobody, there was no call out for people coming out and giving a chant like this. This shows that without any organization or any call out, people want to come on Nowruz. They want to come to the nationalistic, patriotic spots in their country, and this is what, you know, the wisdom of the crowd, just the chance that emerges out of just people coming out and gathering, shows their desire of the people and what they want. By the way, we actually have stats. Times articles just recently published an article referring to a study done by American researchers showing that 80%, I kid you not, of Iranians want the return. They want the return of the Pahlavis. They want Reza Pahlavi to come and become the leader in Iran. 80%. We're not talking about the number of people who are against the regime, because that is actually even much higher than 80%. I would think that it's at least 90%, maybe even more. But out of that 90%, so 80% of the entire country want not only for the regime to go, but they also specifically know what they want in return, which is Reza Pahlavi to be king. Yeah, I will. Do you think, wow, that's a big stat? I actually have to. I will have that stat. Maybe let me know in the chat if you want me to show you that stat. The Times article. Yeah. So I have that. Let me know, guys, in the chat if you want me to show that to you. Okay. So let's go to the next chant. That's a specific statistical. No, Jack is saying this isn't the wisdom of the crowd. That's a specific statistical observation. Not every instance where a crowd is wise. Okay, so the wisdom of the crowd is is actually a concept that I have talked about this on the chat many times. The emergent property of the crowd actually being much higher than the average of the wisdom of every individual in the crowd. And the statistics is actually the best way to decide what the wisdom of the crowd is, has agreed upon. So I don't know why is that. Why does one negate the other? But hey, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next chant. Listen to them what they're chanting here. So I think this one is also, yes, I think, guys, if I'm correct, let me know, Iranians in the chat. I think this is also in the Ferdowsi's. Yes, let me make sure. Yeah, that is also in Ferdowsi. Let me remove this. Yeah, this is also, I think this is another angle from in the burial ground of Ferdowsi. So let's listen to this chant. So they say Iran shode amade farman bede shahzade. This is a very radical chant. It's a huge escalation, right? Because a leader has been chosen. A leader has been chosen. So the opposition now has a very clear leader based on the chants. This is in Iran. People are saying Iran shode amade means Iran is now ready. Farman bede shahzade. Prince, command us. Give us the command. So by saying prince, by using the word prince, it's very clear that they're not talking about the first Pahlavi king, and they're not talking about the second Pahlavi king. They're talking about the current living Reza Pahlavi, crown prince Reza Pahlavi. Iran shode amade farman bede shahzade. Again, this was organic. This was spontaneous. No order from anyone. Iranians, when they gather, these are the chants that they give. Listen. Guys, yes, Amir is saying don't forget to like the stream. Guys, again, this level of deep analysis on what's happening in Iran, you don't get this on any other English speaking stream. So if you appreciate that, please reward this channel by liking the stream and also subscribe. Okay, thank you. So let's go. Let's see what this chant is. This is also. So they're saying in آخرین نبرد پهلوی برمیگرده, meaning that this is the final battle. Pahlavi will return. Again, the reason why this is an escalation is because, unlike previous chants that we Iranians have been used to, it doesn't refer to the previous Pahlavi kings. It's not just a celebration of what. It's not just a celebration of what was before the Islamic regime. It looks to the future, and it's telling you what we want for what Iranians want to come late next, right? So it's not a look in the past and how glorious it was during the Pahlavi dynasty. It's saying Pahlavi will return. So it's referring to the current crown prince, because the previous Pahlavi kings are dead, right? Yeah, the D is saying this is progressing pretty quickly since the Mahsa uprising. Yeah, by the way, guys, we don't call it the Mahsa uprising anymore because a lot of leftists and, radical feminists, again, not normal feminists, radical feminists are trying to hijack that uprising. And we have rebranded the Mahsa uprising to we call it the Inqilab. We used to call it Inqilab Mahsa, which means the Mahsa revolution. Now we use vocabulary that is sensitive to leftists and the woke, and we call it the national revolution because the leftists are sensitive to the words patriotic or nationalist. So just to make sure that they can't hijack it, we have rebranded the revolution that we used to refer to the Mahsa revolution. We now refer to it as the patriotic revolution or the national revolution, right? So let's watch this. By the way, they're saying the same thing. This is the final battle. Pahlavi will return. I think there's another chant at the end of this, so I'm going to continue this. By the way, this also shows the wisdom of the crowd, that how in like the idea of rebranding this revolution to calling it a national revolution, instead of like the massive revolution, in response to some far leftists trying to get use the trend to get on it and take advantage of it. Again, this was no centralized authority came up with this idea, and it just shows how intelligent the Iranian people are and how strategic they are with the words that they use, the chants that they use, the branding that they use when it comes to, because they know their enemy. They know that they lost this country. We lost the country to the leftists and the Islamists once, and they refuse to allow them, because a lot of Islamists and leftists have realized that this regime might actually get toppled. So they're trying to latch on to the opposition by changing their colors in different ways, so that if this ever happens, they manage to survive by they try to take this revolution and make their own and take it into their own direction. And when you give the current revolution, a Pahlavi branding, or a monarchist branding, or a nationalist branding, then they cannot do that, because they are very allergic. So the Iranian people consider the enemies of Iran to be three groups of people. There's the chant says, Nang bar Sefaset, Mullah Chapul Mujahid. So they say curse upon three corruptions. This is a chant by Iranians. Mullah Chapul Mujahid. So either the mullahs, the leftists, the far leftists, and the Mujahid, which is the MEK. These are the three enemies of Iran, and the Iranian people, the Iranian nationalists, are refusing any of these groups of people to try to act like they are the opposition and remain relevant to eventually come and spread their poison again once they have the upper hand, right? So the mullahs, they are also, sometimes some mullahs try to pretend a lot of Islamists, for example, they try to pretend like they're the opposition by being the reformists, right? And the leftists, sometimes they want to be like, we are the actual opposition against the Islamic Republic, but the Iranian people remember that they were actually the people who are responsible for the 1979 Islamic Revolution. And the MEK, or the Mujahid as we call them, are actually worse than the Islamic Republic. So they try to be the opposition, and we don't trust them because they are actually worse. And I will actually show you once I show you these protests, I will show you the New Year messages to the Iranian and Persian people by Reza Pahlavi, by Benjamin Netanyahu, by Khamenei, which was not even as a New Year. He didn't even celebrate New Year. He didn't even say congratulations to the Iranian people, because he didn't see it as wise to do so, because it was the same time that the Ali died. And then also I will show you the leader of the MEK, Mariam Rajavi, her New Year message to the Iranian people. So let's finish this video and then I'll get to those. So now the chant changed, and somebody, see, again, this is why this is radical, because they're mentioning his name. They're saying Reza Pahlavi in as shoar milli. Reza Pahlavi in as shoar milli. Basically meaning Reza Pahlavi, this is the national chant. So basically this chant suggests that the nationalistic, the patriotic chant, the chant of the patriotic Iranians is Reza Pahlavi's name. So just his name is the chant of patriotic people. That's what this chant suggests. So in saying Reza Pahlavi, that doesn't need translation. Ina Shoar Milli, that's our national chant. That's the second part. So listen to this. Guys, again, this is But let me actually demonstrate how brave this is, because this is in Iran, and a lot of people are like, guys, aren't these people afraid? Like, how these chants are asking for a toppling of the regime. These chants are a direct. This is pro Pahlavi. This is, guys, a pro Pahlavi chant used to be so radical. Do you understand? Because it crosses all red lines. So it used to be that the regime would come after any form of opposition. Then they were like, okay, so anti-religion opposition, they were like a little bit less aggressive, but political opposition very aggressive. And then it became the political chants, anti-regime chants became very, very aggressive. And then they were like, okay, if it's asking for reform, it's fine, but if it's too aggressive and suggests that it's against the entirety of the regime, we don't tolerate that. And then eventually got to the point like, okay, if it's based on economic concerns, we allow that, but if it's based on like cultural or freedom stuff, like, no, we don't tolerate that. And then eventually it was like, okay, they couldn't even censor that one anymore, they couldn't even oppress that one anymore. So like, okay, so we cannot stop this, but if it's pro-Israel, then we're going to go stop that. And then that red line was crossed, and now then it got to a point like, okay, what the thing that we cannot ever tolerate is anybody who's pro-Pahlavi. In fact, the Islamic Republic, they are so afraid of Pahlavi that they went into promoting opposition against the Islamic regime. I kid you not. The Iranian regime, in the in fear of the pro-Pahlavi narrative growing, tried to promote other oppositions to itself so that they could compete against the Pahlavi opposition, because that is the main fear that they have. They are terrified of the Pahlavi. They are now allowing other forms of opposition against the regime to grow in hopes that they could actually manage to outcompete the Pahlavi one. And by doing that, by the way, they showed to us Iranian people what is their weak spot is, what is their main fear is. For example, one clear example of that is that in Munich, in Germany, the Islamic regime actually managed to pressure the German government to pressure the Munich Security Conference to disinvite Reza Pahlavi from that conference. The same conference that JD Vance went to talked, and it was a big deal. That same conference, Reza Pahlavi was supposed to speak in that conference in Germany, and the German government responded positively. Basically bent the knee to the Islamic Republic, to the Islamic regime in Iran, and they pressured the organizers of that conference to remove their invitation for Mirza Pahlavi. Let me tell you something. There were other people in that conference that were that came there in opposition to the Islamic regime, and the Islamic Republic had no worry about them being there. The only person that the Islamic Republic wanted not to be in that conference was Reza Pahlavi. And it's actually a shame and an embarrassment and disgusting that the German government actually responded positively to the Islamic. The German government actually did go out and pressure that conference to disinvite Reza Pahlavi to respond positively to the request of the Islamic Republic. And I think a lot of Germans should be angry and ashamed. They're cowards, exactly. I mean, they're cowards that they responded to that. By the way, regarding these people being brave, am I suggesting that there's no crackdown on chants like this anymore? No, there is. Here, let me actually show you that there's still. Look at this. Iran cracks down on Nowruz gatherings over anti-government chants, and apparently a couple of people were arrested. So you can see Iranian judicial authorities have announced arrest and legal action against individuals who took part in the New Year celebrations at historical sites, accusing them of desecration, disturbing public order, and violating Islamic norms. The gathering in Fars province and the religious city of Mashhad. Okay, it's not just a religious city. Okay, the religious city of Mashhad were marked by dancing and anti-government slogans, as well as expressions for support for former Pahlavi monarchy. Okay, it wasn't just support for former Pahlavi monarchy, it was also support for the current living Reza Pahlavi and wishing him back, as I showed you in the chants. Okay, so Kamran Mirhaji, the Fars provincial prosecutor, said Sunday that legal cases had been opened against several participants, and that further actions would follow the completion of investigations during the New Year celebrations. Crowds at popular tourist sites, including Persepolis, the tombs of national poets Hafiz, Ferdowsi, and Omar Khayyam, were seen dancing and chanting anti-government and pro-Pahlavi slogans. Videos circulating online showed crowds at Persepolis chanting long live the Shah." I would be very pissed if it doesn't mention Reza Pahlavi. Let me see if it does, because Iran International, sometimes people accuse it of, like, let me see. At the tomb of Ferdowsi, attendees were heard chanting slogans such as "The tyrant is overthrown, the Shah is coming home." Okay, the Shah is coming home obviously is referring to Reza Pahlavi, because the other Shahs are dead. This is the final. Okay. This is the final battle. The Pahlavi is returning. Okay, no mention of Reza Pahlavi. I hope they, and women life freedom. Again, this is like, you hear this less than before these days. Hassan Hosseini, the governor of Mashhad, said on Thursday that a small number of people had disrupted the New Year's ceremonies. Had been oh okay, so people who had been, who had disturbed the New Year ceremonies had been identified and would face what he called appropriate judicial action. Additionally, the director of the TU's cultural heritage site announced the closure of the Ferdowsi tomb complex on Ramadan days, coinciding with the anniversary of the first Shia Imam's death. Right, so the first Shia Imam's death. I mean, it's too late. They already were there at Nowruz, but they closed it down now. So it's people were guys. This was the largest act of celebration by Iranian people on the anniversary of Imam Ali, the first Shia Imam's death, which is a big fuck you to everything that the regime stands for, basically. In Neshabur, large crowds also celebrated the New Year at Khayyam's mausoleum, where attendees chanted "Reza Shah, bless your soul." Okay, so that's Reza Shah, Ruet Shah. So again, no mention of Reza Pahlavi. Okay, I consider this article to be a failure, because never did it mention once people chanting Reza Pahlavi's name. Similar gatherings with chanting and singing of Iranian songs were reported at other tourist sites. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I am upset. I am consider me pissed that the current Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi was not mentioned once in this article. Anyways, that's why you come to this channel, because I have the full information. Not this one. Look at this. Yeah, because the most radical chant this year was King Reza Pahlavi. So let's watch this one. Yeah, so that's the same chant. The Pahlavi will return. Let me see if they say anything at the end of it. Okay, let's go to Khayyam's burial ground. So this is another. So far we did Ferdowsi's burial ground, we did Hafiz's burial ground, and now this is Omar Khayyam's burial ground. A lot of atheists know Khayyam, I think, because anybody who has read the book by Christopher Hitchens, God is Not Great, knows that Christopher Hitchens' book starts with a poetry from Khayyam, basically attacking Islam. So, a lot of patriots in Iran, their favorite poet is Ferdowsi. A lot of atheists in Iran, their favorite poet is Khayyam, because Khayyam was aggressively anti-Islamic, right? So let me see if I could find his poetry. So, guys, by the way, this is a 1,000 years ago. This man was born 1,000 years ago, and in the heart of the Islamic empire back then, this man was writing poetry aggressively, calling calling out Islam. Let me see if I could find his poetry. Okay. And he has a anti-Quran poetry. Let me see if I could find the very poem that Hitchens quoted, because okay, let's listen to this while I try to find it. So the first chant that we're hearing here is saying Reza Shah Ruat Shah, which is basically translates to Reza Shah, bless your soul. Reza Shah Ruat Shah, 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 Reza Shah Ruat Shah. All right, let me go. I'm looking for that poem, but let's go to... Okay, so we already had this one. Let me go. Let me see what I have here. All right, so I think let me show you something. Let me go to Reza Pahlavi himself while I look for that poem, because I want to show you Reza. So now now that you know what the Iranian people want, right? Let's go and for people who might be new here, this is a good introduction to who Reza Pahlavi is and what he stands for. A lot of you who follow this channel, you know Reza Pahlavi and what he stands for, but a lot of you haven't heard his New Year message, so I will play that for you. And this is also a good introduction to him and his values. But then we go to super chat, so let me read the super chat by the way, guys, thank you for the super chats. I will read the super chats in between the videos as I'm going through. Ginga is saying, if there were so many influential people that opposed Islam, how come they did not succeed in cracking down on it so much that it prevailed to this day? Okay, first of all, they were not the majority. They were ahead of their time, right? These people. And second of all, during the Abbasid dynasty, the Islamic world was going towards a direction of secularization because of the amount of wealth and the amount of power and the amount of trade. Like, it was bringing the Islamic world, their attention of the world that was Islamic, away from Islam and towards material things, towards this world rather than afterlife. It was happening slowly. It was going in that direction. But the people who fucked it up were the Sufis. This is why I consider Sufism, especially like people like Ghazali. Okay, for example, with writing a book against philosophers and science and shit like that. Anyways, but that's another topic. But it was going in the right direction for a time, and then it went backwards. It has up and downs throughout his history. It's not like it wasn't all in the same direction, right? So we had good times and bad times. Like, for example, during the Abbasid period, Jews were leaving Christian land to come to Islamic land because at that time the caliphates of the Islamic lands were more tolerant because they were becoming more and more secularized. But then eventually it went back to being completely radical and insane. Yeah, and this is one reason why people think Sufis are a better version of Islam, and I always argue that no, it's actually the worst version of Islam. But we're not going to get into that topic today. But yeah, people in the chat, we have Iranians in the chat saying King Reza Pahlavi. Guys, if you're Iranian in the chat, make sure you mention how important Reza Pahlavi is so that other people here can see how important this name is for us, Reza Pahlavi, right? So for people who might be new here, let's listen to the New Year message by Reza Pahlavi. And oh, wait, is this the English one or the Persian one?
همیهنان عزیز
Yeah, no, I don't want the wait. I don't want the. I want to because he did two. Let me just do the English one so I don't have to translate. He had two videos. I'll just do the English one so it becomes easier. Okay, there we go. This is better. That's better. Let's listen to the English version so I don't have to translate.
My dear friends around the world, today as Iranians celebrate Nowruz, the ancient Iranian New Year, we reflect on renewal, hope, and the promise of a brighter future. Nowruz means new day, symbolizing our people's timeless quest for freedom, peace, and prosperity. For the past 46 years, unable to celebrate Nowruz in my homeland, I have marked this occasion by addressing my compatriots in Iran. Today, however, given the historic opportunity ahead of not just Iran, but of humanity, I am taking this opportunity to speak to all of you across the world for the first time on this special day to ask you to imagine an even greater renewal, a world without the Islamic Republic. Imagine the Middle East liberated from the shadow of nuclear blackmail and threats. Imagine our region without endless proxy wars, extremist ideologies, and terrorism, all
Yeah, Ginga is saying, is that the prince? Yes, this is the prince. This is the third Pahlavi. So remember, the first Pahlavi was Reza Shah. The second Pahlavi was Muhammad Reza Shah. He's the third Pahlavi, the current crown prince. He lives in the United States, and the Iranian people want him to come back and replace the mullahs and lead Iran. This is the prince. This is the crown prince, Reza Pahlavi. When people in the streets were chanting, when people in the burial grounds they were chanting King Reza Pahlavi, they're referring to him. They want him. They want him to turn from a prince to become a king, to come back to Iran and bring the Pahlavi dynasty back. So this is the guy that the Iranian people want.
driven by a regime whose policies have caused mass migration, instability, and suffering,
Go back a little bit. So
ideologies, and terrorism, all driven by a regime whose policies have caused mass migration, instability, and suffering far beyond Iran's borders. Imagine a Western world free from hostage taking and Western troops and taxpayers.
So is somebody in the chat is saying not a big fan of kings? You're missing the entire point. Okay, this is not about whether or not I myself am not a monarchist, but the wisdom of the Iranian people have come to the conclusion that the monarchist brand is what can save us right now. The reason for that is right. So in Iran, we have two groups of people in the opposition: the Republicans and the monarchists. Right. I myself consider myself a Republican and not a monarchist. However, I support the monarchists and the branding of the monarchism because not because of what monarchy will bring us. And again, people have to understand the Iranian people are not asking for an absolute monarchist. If you say like I'm not a fan of kings, it's because you have a very limited and based on a basic understanding of different types of monarchy. We have absolute monarchists, for example, like in Saudi Arabia, and we have constitutional monarchies. For example, what we have in the UK, or what we have in Canada, or what we have in Sweden, or what we have in Norway, right? These are constitutional monarchies. That means that the executive branch has been chosen by the people. We have a king that is symbolic, but we also have the people have a prime minister. There's a parliament, and the laws are chosen by the people, and the elected officials are doing most of the work, right? And that's the type of monarchy that the monarchists in Iran want. But the main thing is that whether you're a Republican or a monarchist, many Iranian Republicans who are patriotic have realized that even though they are patriotic, they are going to go behind the branding of monarchy right now in this situation, because the branding of monarchy is the only branding that will keep all the enemies of Iran out of the opposition. Basically, it would we are so skeptical of any form of infiltration because we have had a bad experience with the mullahs. Like, for example, many Iranians back in 1979 trusted Khomeini, and then they saw what happened, right? So there's a huge trust issue. So any form of opposition that we have ever tried to form against the Islamic Republic was always infiltrated by separatists, by leftists, by communists, by the regime itself with the name of reformists, right? By the MEK. And the good thing about all of the enemies of Iran, which is all of these groups that I mentioned, separatists, leftists, hard leftists, okay, like not just normal left, not liberal left-leaning people. I'm talking, when I say leftists, I'm talking about the woke and Marxists, right? And who else have I mentioned? The MEK and the reformists, right? All of these groups of people, they are extremely sensitive to anything with the branding of monarchy or anything with the branding of Pahlavi. And that's why the Pahlavi brand and the monarchy brand is an effective way of creating a patriotic revolution that keeps all of the enemies of Iran out of this opposition. And that's why the Iranian people have wisely, even the ones who are not monarchists, gotten behind the monarchists and are joining forces with the Pahlavi name, with the Pahlavi branding. Right? So if you're saying I'm not a fan of kings, is because in your mind you're maybe thinking like ancient history. You're thinking kings as in an absolute monarch deciding everything. Okay, that's not what the Iranian people are asking for. They're asking for a constitutional monarchy and a branding and a name that is recognized by all patriots, that keeps all the enemies of Iran out by itself. It has an automatic filtering process. So
far beyond.
And also, if you say I'm not a fan of like kings and stuff, well, you should be the fan of what the people want, right? Like, if it's not your choice. That's what the Iranian people are asking for.
Iran's borders. Imagine a Western world free from hostage taking and Western troops and taxpayers free of the burden of endless wars in far off lands. Envision instead a free Iran, a nation contributing positively to regional stability, global security, and economic growth. Imagine international commerce flourishing securely through the Persian Gulf, with open trade routes benefiting every nation. Think of a Middle East where Iranian culture, innovation, and enterprise enrich and stabilize the region rather than destabilize it. For decades, the Islamic Republic under Ali Khamenei has falsely claimed to represent Iran and its ancient people. It holds no legitimacy, no mandate, and no rightful place in our history. Iranians overwhelmingly reject this regime and its dark vision. But there is another Iran. As a servant of the Iranian people, I am stepping forward to lead this historic change.
So that's huge, because this is his official, this New Year message that he had here is his official, for the first time he officially accepted the position of leadership for the opposition during the period of the revolution. He had originally previously accepted leadership after the regime topples during the temporary period where we haven't had elections to choose our officials, to make sure that the Iranian people and the foreigners, the foreign powers, understand that there's not going to be no or very limited vacuum of power after the regime is toppled. So he accepted leadership during that time, right? But he had never officially came out and accepted leadership for the opposition during the time of the revolution. And this message that he had here, this was his first official announcement that he accepts that position of leadership. By the way, we got a super chat. I will read that once this video is over.
I have a clear and actionable plan. Achieving it will be challenging, but my resolve is unwavering, and my confidence in the courage of my compatriots is absolute. Together, we can dismantle the Islamic Republic and end decades of global terror, blackmail, and hostage taking. This new reality will profoundly benefit not only Iranians, but citizens everywhere, from the cities of America to the capitals of Europe, from Israel to the Arab world.
So this is very key. Like, it's very good to. He always mentions Israel, signaling to the world that Iran under Pahlavi would be an Iran that is friendly to Israel. It's very important, and also to its Arab neighbors.
Our success will mean peace, prosperity, and security for countless millions.
People in the chat say, Amir saying from Israel with love. Oh, sweet. Yes. Reza Pahlavi never fails to mention how friendly Iran is going to be to Israel, if we get back our country away from the mullahs. Oh, thank you, Daniel. Thank you. So that's sweet.
Across the globe. Therefore, on behalf of millions of my compatriots who dream of the promising future they deserve, I extend our hand in friendship and partnership to our neighbors from Israel and the Arab states, to our steadfast allies in the West, including President Trump and the United States, and to leaders across Europe and the G7. I extend this hand of friendship in the hope that you will stand with the people of Iran and help us usher in this new day, this new era, in the interest of all of our peoples and nations. Today, on this Nowruz, let us seize this historic opportunity. Let us stand together decisively, not just to support Iranians, but to achieve this bold vision that can forever transform our world for the better. A free Iran is no longer a distant dream. It is a reality being forged today by the hands of its own people. The question is not whether Iran will be free, but which nations will be with us in the fight and make our victory sweeter. May this Nowruz mark the true dawn of peace, partnership, and freedom. Nowruz Piruz.
So, Nowruz Piruz means
Trinity.
like victory to Nowruz. Like, I don't know how to translate that to English, but I want to go to Netanyahu's New Year message next. Okay, but before I do that, this is one of the poets that I mentioned, Omar Khayyam, and a lot of people celebrate him as a symbol of Iranian heritage. And you can see the year he lived close to 1,000 years ago, right? And this was his poem. And again, this is the poem that Christopher Hitchens' book God is Not Great starts with, right? And this is the Iranian people celebrate. So his poem, it says, and he has a lot of anti-Islamic lines in his poetry, but this is my favorite, and this was apparently Christopher Hitchens' favorite as well. He says, the Quran, well, come put me to the test, lovely old book in hideous error dressed. Believe me, I can quote the Quran too. The unbeliever knows his Quran best. And now this is to the mullahs. This is to the religious mullahs from his time. And do you think that unto such as you, a maggot-minded, starved, fanatic crew, God gave a secret and denied it me? Well, what matters it? Believe that too. Again, this is 1,000 years ago. This guy has no chill. It's against the Quran. Okay. Right. So, no, this is more than 800 years ago. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, and again, he said this in the center of the Islamic Empire at his time. So let's go to Netanyahu's New Year message to the Iranian people. Let's see what he said. And guys, by the way, this was so welcome. Like they run this, like every time Netanyahu comes and posts a message to the Iranian people, it just explodes on Iranian social media. They just share it everywhere, and they just all the messages under it is just filled with Iranian people's, like millions of Iranian people's message under, like thank you, and they wish him the best and stuff like that. It's just like they're so obsessed, so justifiably, rightfully, because they just love. I don't know how he comes up with these short messages, but Netanyahu knows exactly the things to say for the Iranian people to love. Like they just hang on every word that he says. So listen to this
Spring
one.
is approaching, and so is the Persian New Year.
Wait, let's go to the beginning.
Spring is approaching, and so is the Persian New Year. I would like to wish the Iranian people and Persians everywhere a happy Nowruz.
See, he that was very good, because guys, if you refer to Iranians as Persians, that is not very inclusive, right? But he is being inclusive here, okay? Why? Because half of Iran is not Persian, okay? Iran is only half Persian. So when you want to refer to Iranians, you should just say Iranians, not Persians, right? However, if you're wishing happy Nowruz, then it makes sense to say Iranians and Persians everywhere, because there are many Persian-speaking people around the world who are not Iranian who are also celebrating Nowruz. So in this context, he's actually being more inclusive by saying Persian. Do you understand the difference? So that's important to understand. If you're referring to Iranians, don't say Persian, so that you could be more inclusive. But if you're celebrating Nowruz, I mean, the most inclusive would be to say Iranians and Persian and Kurdish people everywhere. That would be the most inclusive way to say it. Like, let me know if you understand what I'm saying. So
Spring is approaching, and so is the Persian New Year. I would like to wish the Iranian people and Persians everywhere a happy Nowruz. I wish you health, happiness, prosperity, and most of all, I wish you freedom. I wish that this Nowruz will serve as a new beginning that overcomes all the hurdles and all the barriers that you have faced for too long. May this be a year of servat,
prosperity. So it's very interesting, because every time I think Netanyahu noticed that in his messages, every time he uses a Persian word, the comments, the Iranian people commenting, they fucking love it when he uses Persian words. So I think, given that he saw how well received it was previously when he uses Persian words, he's now leaning into it. So in his message, in this short message, you can see that he refers to 4 things, and those 4 things, he doesn't just say the English version, he says the Persian version of it as well. And he shows that the 4 things that he mentions in Persian are exactly the 4 things that the Iranian people are hoping for by being against the Islamic regime. Like the exact 4, like by saying these 4 things in Persian, he shows that he understands the Iranian people and their hopes and dreams. So the first Persian word he used is servat, which means wealth and prosperity. So listen to this.
I wish you freedom. I wish that this Nowruz will serve as a new beginning that overcomes all the hurdles and all the barriers that you have faced for too long. May this be a year of servat.
Servat, prosperity, wealth.
Prosperity when you, the people of Iran, can finally enjoy Iran's rich natural resources, those resources that have been so long denied to you by an oppressive regime. A year in which the rial will have real value. A year of amniyat, security.
A year of amniyat. Okay, amniyat means security, safety and security. Okay, so servat, prosperity and wealth. And he's saying that right now because right now the inflation in Iran is astronomically high, and every year people's dishes is getting smaller and smaller, and their fridges are getting emptier and emptier, and their the ability to pay for their medicine and the care that their sick loved ones is getting lower and lower. So he knows that's a main issue among Iranian people. So he mentioned that first. And also amniyat, security, because Iranian people feel threatened they have a regime that not only it doesn't bring security to them, they have a regime that is actually a main source of insecurity because the regime is the one who's attacking them. So amniyat.
Those resources that have been so long denied to you by an oppressive regime. A year in which the real will have real value. A year of amniyat, security, spiritual, economic, and physical security. A year of dusti, friendship.
Dusti, a year of dusti, friendship. Third one, dusti, friendship.
Friendship with those who have your best interests at heart, and that includes my country, Israel.
See, the message of Reza Pahlavi matches the message of Netanyahu, because Reza Pahlavi mentioned in his message that the Iranian people want to be friends with Israel. And now Netanyahu's message includes a message of friendship, saying that a year of dusti, a year of friendship between Iranian people and including Israel. So this part was one of the most heartwarming part of the message.
With those who have your best interests at heart, and that includes my country, Israel.
My country.
A year of omid, hope.
Omid, third one, omid, a year of omid. Omid is Persian for hope.
Hope and optimism that lead to liberty. A year of iman, faith.
Okay, so here, as an atheist, I was ready to get upset a little bit when he said a year of faith. But then he said something, iman means faith. And he said a year of faith, iman. And I was like, okay, this part I don't like. But then he clarified, he doesn't mean faith in God. He means faith
that lead to liberty. A year of iman, faith. Faith that you can have a better life. A year of azadi.
A faith, oh, so it's 5 things in Persian. Iman, a year of faith in the future. Faith in tomorrow, faith in having better lives. Okay, so it didn't become religious, so I'm glad. So now this one is the most important one in my mind. A year of azadi. A year of azadi. Azadi means freedom.
Faith that you can have a better life. A year of azadi, freedom, real freedom. Freedom from oppression, freedom from want, freedom to live, freedom to choose. Chag Nowruz Sameach, Happy Nowruz to all.
And he said the Happy New Year part in Hebrew. So see, most of the message was in English. The parts, this was masterful. The parts that was important to Iranian people, instead of using English words, he used Persian words. And then, I mean, not just English words, he also used the Persian version of them. But the part that he wanted to say from his heart, that he wanted to say it, he says it in his mother tongue, right? So he used English, the parts that were important to Iranian people in Persian, and the part that it was important for him to say from his part in his own mother tongue in Hebrew. This was like, this was fantastic. Look at
freedom from oppression, freedom from want, freedom to live, freedom to choose. Chag Nowruz Sameach, Happy Nowruz to all of you.
That was amazing. That was fucking. I no matter what you think about Netanyahu, okay, would love him or hate him. That was 10 out of 10. Right? Yeah, dark good. No kidding. Before I go to this idiot's New Year message, okay, so I'm going to give you not just the good but the bad as well. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to show you how Iranian people can tell who represents them and who doesn't represent them, right? So FLP, first of all, thank you for buying 5 memberships for people in the live chat. Really appreciate the support. Guys, we're trying to get to 1,000 members and we're a quarter way there. So thank you for being members. That really helps this channel, okay? So again, once we get to 1,000 members, all our financial problems will go away. So help us get there. And Jackie, thank you so much for the super chat, saying thank you for the gifted membership. Well, oh yeah, and thank you to you, Jackie, for that very generous super chat. Appreciate the support. And then Flying Robot Duck is saying, what would the fall of Islamic Republic mean for Hamas? It means the end of funding. That means the complete bankruptcy. It means the end of training, the end of military aid, and the end of financial aid. At least a majority parts of it, right? That it would mean basically the end of the Islamic Republic. It would be not just the end of Hamas. It would be the end of any most groups being able to even replace Hamas. You know, at least when it comes to them being able to do any form of serious military operation, right? And thank you for the super chat. All right, so I just wanted to make sure I show you the New Year message from Khamenei, and the most important part of his New Year message is that it had zero congratulations to the Iranian people, because it was this Nowruz this year was also the anniversary of Ali's death, right? He did not see it fit to congratulate anybody for it, right? So that was very, a lot of people noticed that and hated him for that. Another thing is that if you notice this Iranian versus this one, you can see there's no signs of Nowruz, zero signs of Nowruz anywhere in his background, anywhere next to him, nothing, nothing at all. But when Reza Pahlavi is giving his message, you could see the half scene next to him, with all the elements of half scene, the eggs, the apple, the mirror, the grass, the flower, the fish, the shahnameh. You can see the shahnameh and everything there, right? But yeah, you see nothing, absolutely nothing Nowruz related here, right? And something that I highlighted on the Persian channel, which I want to highlight here as well. Okay, so is this. Look at how it starts. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but look at how it starts. Look at how it starts.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار يا مدبر الليل والنهار يا محول الحول والأحوال.
So guys, do you notice, like, before I say anything, before I play anything else, do you guys notice what's happening here? Like what just happened?
حول حالنا إلى أحسن الحال. آغاز.
So what just happened? What am I going to... Oh yeah, by the way, guys, another thing I forgot to mention before I get into what he just said and why it's very significant, okay, is you have also noticed the flags, okay? So the flag behind Reza Pahlavi has the lion, the sun, and the sword, which is the proper Iranian flag. And the flag next to Khamenei has that Allah symbol in the middle of it, which is not the proper Iranian flag. That's the Islamic regime's flag. This is Iranian people do not consider this to be their flag, right? But the thing that I wanted to... Yes, exactly, Jack got it. He spoke Arabic. The first 3 or 4 lines. So this video that I'm showing you is the leader, the supreme leader of, as he knows himself, the supreme leader of Iran, his message on New Year to the Iranian people. Guys, what is the language of Iran? What language do Iranian people speak? Again, this is... no hatred for the Arabic language or any Arab people, okay? But the Iranian people, what language do they speak? First of all, they speak Persian. They don't speak Arabic. The vast majority, like, we have some Iranians who are Arab and speak Arabic, but guess what? Arab Iranians also speak Persian. So more than 90% of this country does not speak Arabic. The vast majority of this country have no idea. Your statement to the Iranian people started with a few lines that they do not understand. Like, there's no better demonstration of the leaders of this country not being representative of their people. Who are you speaking to? Why are you speaking Arabic? We don't speak Arabic. I have no fucking idea what you just said. This is supposed to... I'm Iranian. There's a lot of Iranians in the chat. This was supposed to be a message to me. Well, I have no fucking idea what you just said. Okay, well, speak Persian. This is the language of this country, is Persian. So let me... This is so, like, I want you to understand how annoying this is. These people go around the world claiming that they are our representatives. But then when they talk to us, they speak in a foreign language that we do not understand. They talk in a language that only the religious, like only their people understand. Like they're a minority. Even their people, some of them don't speak Arabic. But only a few percentage of them who are very religious have gone mastered Arabic. And when you're reciting Quranic verses in Arabic to us, then we know that you are not of us. You are not with us. You are not of us. You are not speaking to us. You're talking to your own people. You're talking to your own. I don't know how much do you have left. Let's say 6%. You're talking to your 5 or 6%. You are talking to them. You're not talking to us. You know we don't speak this language. Again, I know there are a lot of Arab Iranians. Like again, Arab Iranians are a minority in Iran, but a lot of them are also anti-regime. I just want to make sure that I'm not taking a position against them. I'm not taking a position against the minority Arab Iranians, okay? But Arab Iranians also speak Persian. Persian Iranians don't speak Arabic. Kurdish Iranians don't speak Arabic. Turkish Iranians don't speak Arabic. Bakhtiyari Iranians don't speak Arabic. Baluchi Iranians don't speak Arabic. Okay, Arab Iranians may speak Arabic, but they also speak Persian. So if you want to communicate with Iranians, all of these people that I mentioned, they all speak Persian. Even if they're Turk, Kurd, Baluchi, Bakhtiyari, Gilaki, whatever, Lord, whatever, they all speak Persian because they are born in Iran. And it's the official language of the country. This is I'm trying to communicate how infuriating this is, these people speaking like this and acting like they are our leaders. Yes, so Iranian Zionist in the chat is saying, imagine that the leader of the country, the president of your country, came out wishing Happy New Year to all of you, and he starts speaking Spanish, for example. Okay. Like, okay, or actually Chinese even, because that's how foreign this is. Like what? Like we don't, we don't understand. I mean, Spanish. More people in the United States speak Spanish than people in Iran speak Arabic. To be fair. And also it's also Quranic verse. Like he's doing Quranic verses, religious texts in Arabic. So it's a double infuriating, because first he's speaking Arabic, but also it's Quranic verses. Okay, so I'm not going to translate his bullshit anymore, but I just want to play it a little bit, because another comment a lot of people made, it was that this is very low energy, because he's becoming more and more low energy in his speeches. But just
نام شهادت امیر مؤمنان صلوات الله و سلامه علیه همراهه.
So he's actually mentioning that this year the New Year became the same day as the anniversary of death of the first Imam of Shia Islam, Ali. So again, he spoke Arabic, then he's talking about something that many Iranians don't give a shit about, which is the death of Ali. Yeah, Carl is saying time for a nap, grandpa. Exactly.
امیدواریم برکات این شبها.
Anyways, this is boring. I don't want to waste any more time on this. Let's go to the MEK, which a lot of, unfortunately, Westerners get confused and think that this lady is actually proper opposition. This lady, okay? She's the leader of the MEK, and the MEK, their social media, so this is her New Year message, which I will play. But the problem with her is that the colors that they use, the flag that they use, and the language that they use, and their opposition to the Islamic Republic, the opposition to the regime, fools a lot of Westerners to think that these are part of the Iranians' opposition against the regime. And I have to always remind people that the MEK is hated by Iranians, sometimes even more severely than they hate the regime itself. Okay? But because of the narratives that they use, and because of the flag that they use, because look, they also actually use the flag with the lion and the sun and the sword. So a lot of foreigners think like, oh, these are good people. They talk about democracy, they talk about women's freedoms, they talk about stuff like that. But this is a cult. This is a very, and they have colors, you know, you see this more colorful, unlike Khamenei, they have like very colorful, right? But this is a fucking terroristic, dangerous, communist Islamic cult. And maybe one day I should do a full stream dedicated to these dangerous, evil people, right? And the Iranian people hate them, and they have no base within the Iranian people. Do not trust them. Okay, this is the MEK. Their ideology is a marriage of communism and Islamism. So people are saying, "What's the name of her party?" The MEK, and her name is Mariam Rajavi. They created a new religion, and now their religion has evolved to the point where she is the fucking god. Like they worship her. They worship her. Okay, but anyways, let's look at how her message starts. I just want to make sure that we do not trust this. So they have two bases. One is in Paris and one is in Albania. So they're watching her remotely through a TV screen in Albania, and this is their base in Albania. Okay, but like their other base, where she is physically in, you can see the crowd there is bigger, is in Albania. So let's go. So this is through TV screen. Look, they have the half scene, they have the lion and the sword. So again, she wears the headscarf. That's one clue why this person is not one of us. I mean, she wears the headscarf outside of Iran. Okay, so you can see the yeah, Carl saying that's the People's Mujahideen sect. Yes, the MEK is the People's Mujahideen sect, the Mujahideen Khalq. Okay, so this is the crowd in Albania, right? Camp Ashraf, guys. The Iranians in the chat. If I'm saying anything incorrectly about their base, let me know. And you can see that their base, in their base, the crowd is much bigger, and you can see that men and women are separated in their main camp, in their main base, right? And the women all are wearing headscarf. There's not a single woman ever in their camp that does not wear the hijab. Again, this is not mandatory. They're doing this in countries where the hijab is not mandatory, and women and men are always separated. Okay, so you can see that the Islamism is there.
در جشن چهارشنبه سوری و همچنین سال نو با شما و همراه شما هستم. شما که همه زردی ها رو به آتش چهارشنبه سوری میسپارید و سرخی رو از اون میگیرید.
So this is the most important part. Listen to this.
امسال با سالروز سرخی رو از اون میگیرید.
Listen.
عید امسال.
Yeah, some people, Peter is saying Camp Ashraf was in Iraq before Saddam Hussein. Yes, then it moved to Paris and then it moved to Albania, right? But listen to this part. This is the important.
و سرخی رو از اون میگیرید. عید امسال با سالروز شهادت حضرت علی علیه السلام مصادف شده و به همین خاطر ما نوروز رو با چهارشنبه سوری درآمیخته و پیشاپیش به استقبال اون میرویم.
So she said here that this year the anniversary of death of Imam Ali was on the same day with Nowruz, the New Year, the Iranian New Year. And that's why she's doing this message and the celebration of New Year this year a couple of days earlier, so that they do not. So she did not put the New Year message on New Year itself, because they did not want to be celebrating New Year on the anniversary of Imam Ali's death. Okay, this is a big fuck you, basically, by her to the Persian tradition, to the Iranian culture, to Iranian history. And this also this is a demonstration that to her people and to her camp, the Shia ideology is superior and above in priority and importance to Iranian tradition. She's demonstrating her priorities. And this is what we highlighted on our Persian channel too. as a way to remind people who is why we hate these people. Okay, people in the chat are saying "fuck Imam Ali," exactly, right? And then now let's continue.
از همکنون
That's a big deal, guys. She did not want to come say Happy New Year and celebrate New Year on New Year because it was the anniversary of Imam Ali's death. This is very significant. This is very telling. This is a reminder to the new generation of Iranians, because a lot of new generation of Iranians do not remember the terrorist activities by this cult. Some of them don't. And they do not remember why some of us who are a bit older hate these people with passion. So every chance that we get, when people remind us, when they come and remind us what they stand for, or where their priorities are, we have to use that. Iranians have to use that to remind the new generations of Iranians, our generation Z and Alphas, like, guys, like, we have a history with the MEK. Please do not be fooled with their colors and their organizational skills, and they have a lot of lobbying power, right? Especially in the US. These people have a lot of money, and that's why they managed to have become very close to some Republicans, especially to the neocons. The MAGA Republicans, they haven't had much chance with, but neocon Republicans have came out and supported the MEK. Like, for example, Bolton, Rudy Giuliani, Mike Pence, who else, guys? Pompeo. These are Republicans who have become very, very, very close to the MEK, right? So but now listen to the rest of our message.
پیش به استقبال اون می رویم. از همکنون حلول سال نو رو به شما هموطنان آزاده و شریف تبریک می گویم.
So Khamenei didn't say any congratulations, but she's saying congratulations, but she's saying it 2 days early, so it doesn't coincide with Imam Ali's death. So she said congratulations, but she said it earlier.
یا مقلب القلوب والابصار.
Okay, now this is the part. Now she's saying Islamic prayers in Arabic. So now the Arabic part gets in, like just like Khamenei. So now we're heading into Arabic, which I don't understand. Like this part I can't translate.
تبریک میگویم. یا مقلب القلوب والابصار، یا مدبر اللیل والنهار، یا محول الحال والاحوال، حول حالنا الی احسن الحال. ای برگردان.
He just did a prayer to God in Arabic, which I cannot translate to you guys, because I, as an Iranian, I don't speak that language. But I don't know Mariam, who are you talking to? Who the fuck are you talking to? Well, I know who she's talking to. She was talking to God. This was directed to God. And now she's going to do another prayer in Persian, speaking to God.
و تغییر دهنده قلب ها و دیدگان. ای تدبیر کننده شب و روز.
Yeah, go speak to God. I thought you were going to talk to the Iranian people, but no, you're going to speak to God. Okay. There's that. So again, so this new year we had a good demonstration. We had that's why the Iranian people, when they look at Reza Pahlavi and Netanyahu, and they say like, okay, these people get us. These people understand us. These people know what we want. But when they listen to Khamenei or Maryam Rajavi, they're like, fuck these people. Like, you are not with us. You are not one of us. You do not speak to us. You're not even trying to speak to us. And you do not have the same priorities as us. Right? Anyways, wait, did I have anything else? I think I covered everything. Yeah. Let me just go to the comments that Sohail has highlighted. Thank you so much, Sohail, for highlighting the comments. Oh, I see Nima is here as well. By the way, Nima is looking for more volunteers, for people who can highlight comments, so that our current volunteers are not doing all of the work all the time. So if Nima's email is in the description. If you want to email Nima, wait, there's a banner here that actually shows Nima's email here. Wait, that's Nima's email. I should have an English version of this banner as well. If you email Nima, then he could, if you want to volunteer to highlight the comments, that would be great. Anyways, let's go to the comments that Sohail, who was volunteering today, highlighting people's comments and starting the ones that I should be reading. So there's 9 comments start. So let me go through them fast. Guys, don't forget to like the stream before we address the comments. Okay, don't forget to like the stream. It's important. It helps us grow the channel. Okay, we have some very useful information here that you don't get in other places. This level of deep analysis you don't get in other places. So please make sure that you like the stream so that I get motivated to do more shows like this. FLP saying hi all, happy Atheist Day to all atheists. Yes, again, it's good to remind everyone that wasn't here at the beginning of the show. Today is Atheist Day, so please, whether you're an atheist or not, please go wish an atheist a happy Atheist Day. You don't have to be an atheist to wish atheists a happy Atheist Day. On Atheist Day, which is March 23rd. And, it's a good opportunity for you to make atheists feel like they're not hated for their atheism and they're not isolated, and they are accepted. That you, whether you're an atheist or if you're not an atheist, you could show, in fact, it's better if you're not an atheist and you show atheists that you do not hate them, that you accept them. Please, if you're wishing them happy Atheist Day, don't add a prayer, don't add a wish at the end that you hope that one day they see the truth and come to God and stuff like that. Just say happy Atheist Day. Okay, it's very insulting if you actually add that at the end. Okay, just say you accept them, you could be friends with them, and you don't hate them for their being atheist. Just make them feel as a part of society, especially in countries where being atheist is a huge taboo. If it's safe for you, just try to feel reduce some of this anxiety that many atheists have around the world. Okay, I appreciate that. Jamal saying, I don't even know what this is. I don't know, sorry, I didn't understand that. Hussein saying, I just see Iran as a second Syria. Well, then you're not very smart. Then why is it a second Syria? Iran and Syria are very different. You need to be clarifying that. There's a much more unity among Iranians in Iran regarding what they want and with the direction that they want the country to go. In Syria, we have so many different. We have secular-minded, liberal-minded people who want democracy in Syria. There's many of that. There are a lot of Islamists that want something completely different. There are Kurdish separatists. There are Turkish separatists, like they're Turkish influence. There's everything all over the place. So, but the Iranian people are the vast majority of the Iranian people, based on statistical analysis that we have had, that we showed on this channel, they're very clear about what they want. They want the border integrity to be preserved. They want secular democracy. They want liberal values. They want modernity. They want freedom of speech. They want education. And the vast majority of Iranians are on the same page on that. So, a false analogy. Jacob is saying, I think the Persian king has already made public his feelings about making the country Persian again. Nope. No, not Persian. He never said that. He celebrated all groups in Iran. In fact, the king, all of the Pahlavis, all of them have been very welcoming of Iran being Persian, Kurdish, Turkish, Arab, Baluchi, Bakhtiari, Gilaki, Lor, all of them. So, Jacob, you're absolutely wrong about that. Iran is half Persian. Okay, we celebrate Persian as a language, as the official language of the country. We celebrate Persian culture, Persian heritage, Persian history, but we also celebrate other languages, not as the official language of the country. We celebrate the Kurdish language in Iran. We celebrate all the languages of Iran. We celebrate the Kurdish, Turkish history that we have, the culture of them. We only want one official language, which is only the Persian language is the official language, but we welcome and celebrate all the languages and all the other Iranians, not just the Persian ones. And Jewish Iranians. Yes, Jewish Iranians. Thank you so, Gingo, for reminding me. Jewish Iranians. But yeah, fantastic. Jewish Iranians. The Jews of Iran. Yeah, not just yeah. It's interesting. A lot of people sometimes say like, "Oh yeah, Iran, Persia." Some people from Israel were telling me like, "Oh yeah, we should make Iran Persian again." Like, we do have we want to welcome our Jewish Iranians. The Jewish Iranians will be Jewish and will remain Jewish, and we will celebrate their Jewish culture and their Jewish heritage. We don't require Iranian Jews to be Persian for us to celebrate them as Iranian. That's a good example. Thank you for that. PM is saying the question today is being Iranian or Muslim. Yes, it's not. Yes, exactly. It's not Persian or Muslim. It's Iranian. Well, it's not. I mean, not. It's not. It's not or. Okay, let's be clear. You in the Iran that we want, you will have the freedom of religion to be Muslim, right? You obviously will have the freedom of religion to be a Muslim. Okay, but what we are doing is, it's not like you have to be. You can't be Muslim and Iranian. But what we're trying to do is, we are trying the Iranian identity to overcome the Muslim identity, to be the most powerful identity in Iran, to be the identity above all other identities, the Iranian identity. But it's not going to be that you cannot be a Muslim if you want to consider yourself Iranian, because the Iran that we want for tomorrow is an Iran that you also have the freedom of having a religion, having no religion, and also the freedom to be against religion. Iranian Zionist is saying Ibrahim is what? I don't know what this means. Okay, sorry, I don't understand that. Riti saying there's also a book called 200 Years of Persian Silence. Persian was outlawed by the Arabs when they conquered. Tongues were cut out, but the language eventually prevailed. So I have heard that many times. I have to double check if that is historically accurate. I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I haven't verified myself yet. It could be completely true, whether that's historically accurate or not. Okay, we have to be careful here, but that might be true. I have to double check. But I've heard it many times. Satnav is saying, hello, leftists don't support Iranian regime. Okay, yes, many. So again, here on this channel, we have to be careful. Leftists, when we say leftists on this channel, we're not talking about liberal-minded people with left-leaning views, okay? We're talking, leftist is a term we use for two types of people on the left. Either people with Marxist leanings or people with the woke mind virus, okay? When it comes to liberal-minded people with left-leaning views, that's the part of the left that we're not against. We're against the part of the left that has Marxists or woke. And those leftists, yes, today they do not support the Iranian regime, but they did support the Iranian, they did support the Islamic revolution that led to the Iranian regime. One. Two, we do not trust them. We do not trust them because even though today they're against the Iranian regime, the thing that they want to bring about is probably worse than the Islamic regime. Like the ideas that they have for Iran after they get there. And again, the Iranian people have already suffered trusting these people. If today they're against the Iranian regime, they do not trust them because they were the ones responsible for bringing it about. So it doesn't matter if they're against it today. In fact, we wish that they were supporting the Iranian regime so that it was easier for us to identify them as enemies, because they are more dangerous today because they're against the Iranian regime, because a lot of people might be fooled and consider them part of the legitimate opposition. The fact that they don't even consider themselves to be patriotic and they don't join the any movement that calls itself patriotic or nationalistic shows. I mean, these are people who are not at all concerned about the border integrity of Iran. In fact, many of the leftists, so many leftists, for example, today, they're against the Iranian regime, but they support, for example, separatists who want to cut Iran into pieces. And that's very interesting because the Iranian people are not willing to. That's if anything could be considered sacred to the Iranian people is the border integrity of Iran. Oh, Bardo is here. Well, thank you so much, Bardo, with the super chat. Bardo saying we celebrate the vibrant tapestry of tribes. I think you mean tribes united, one nation, Iran. Is that tribes? Bardo, you were saying tribes there? Of different, the tapestry of tribes united, one nation, Iran, King Reza Pahlavi. Yes, I think you mean tribes. So again, we have many different groups, minorities in Iran, and one thing I try to promote is that it doesn't the tribe that you belong to, that identity doesn't matter. We only care about the Iranian identity. Like, we don't promote the Persian identity. We promote the Persian culture and the Persian language, but not the Persian identity. We don't promote the Kurdish identity. We don't promote the Turkish identity. We don't promote the Baluchi identity. When it comes to identities, there's only one identity that we promote, and that's the Iranian identity, right? So we don't promote any ethnic identity. We promote the nation's identity, which is the Iranian identity. So the Persian culture is good, the Kurdish culture is good, but don't let those turn into identities. There's only one identity: Iran. Bardo, did I understood you properly? And thank you again. Oh yeah, Bardo saying yes. Okay, so I understood her properly. And Bardo, you agree with me, right? Like, when it comes to identities, I want to see if Bardo, because Bardo is very interesting. Bardo is also, Bardo is saying King Reza Pahlavi, and she is a Republican like me. So guys, in the context of Iranian politics, Republican doesn't mean the same thing that it means in the United States. In fact, a lot of people consider Republicans to be left-leaning and monarchists to be right-leaning in Iran. I am not very left-leaning. I have some left-leaning views and some right-leaning views, but I consider myself a Republican. And I told you, many Republicans are now also saying monarchist chants, which includes Bardo. Bardo, for example, is saying, look, she's saying she's an Iranian. She's chanting King Reza Pahlavi, and she's a Republican like me, not a monarchist. Yeah, and in the United States, she's a Democrat. She's a Republican in Iran and a Democrat in the United States. Right. Okay, so Torah Worldwide is saying, what do you guys do in Atheist Day? How do you celebrate a non-belief? So we celebrate each other. We celebrate us existing. We showcase our presence, that we're there, that we're not ashamed of it, that we will not be silenced, we will not be ashamed, that not liking a belief in God is not a taboo. It's right, that we refuse to back down. We refuse to be felt isolated or demonized or ostracized. We see each other and we make ourselves known to the world. We want to be counted. We want to be seen, so that we cannot so easily be dismissed. And we encourage other people to. Let me actually show you what we do. The way that we use a green circle to celebrate Atheist Day. Actually, that's a good reminder for me to show you the post I made. Here, let's go to here. I'll show you. Okay. And it's interesting how you say celebrate a non-belief, as if because it's a lack of belief. I mean, I know you mean well, by the way, but it doesn't. Sometimes lack of things can be celebrated. You know what I mean? For example, lack of oppression, lack of violence, lack of misery, right? But for us, we're not necessarily on Atheist Day. We're not celebrating our atheism. Okay, we're not actually on Atheist Day. Is not a day about celebrating atheism itself. It's not about celebrating lack of belief in God. It's celebrating the people. It's recognizing their right to not have a view, and them not deserving to be living free and having happy lives with whatever views they're having. That's what we're celebrating. So it's mostly a celebration of the people rather than the lack of belief. But let me actually show you. So I made a post on this channel regarding Atheist Day with the green circle. So I made this post. So you can see this is the green circle. I had this when I was in Israel. So a lot of people celebrate Atheist Day with a green circle because the green circle is a symbol for Atheist Day, right? And the simplicity of the sign is designed for the sake of plausible deniability in places where it's dangerous to be an atheist. So if some people are caught with it, like when, for example, with a green wristband or something like that, they could just say like it's just a green wristband, or other clever ways to be able to signal that they are celebrating Atheist Day without actually making it difficult for them, right? So that is that. That's the answer to that question. CTG was saying, Armin Navobi, how much do the Zionists pay you? Not enough. Not enough. I mean, we do. Let me see. Today, did we get any shekels today? Let me see. So we got 15 shekels from Jinja. I think Jinja is a Zionist. Yeah. So I'm not sure if the rest of them are dollars. So I don't know if they're Zionists. I'm assuming the rest of them are Zionists as well. But today we got 15 shekels. So there's that. But yeah, we are Zionist funded. But by Zionist funded, we're talking about super chats and memberships. People, there are a lot of Zionists here who give super chats, and there are a lot of Zionists here who become members of the channel. And I consider that Zionist funding, I guess, right? And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of being funded by Zionists. Yes, Jinja is a Zionist. So yeah, today we got 15 shekels at least. And I think most of the members here in the chat are also Zionists. So so yeah, that's cause that. Yeah, I will add them up. Maybe I'll tell you later. Oh, here, God, Gene, because you do now. Yes, I got another Zionist. Gene is also a Zionist. We got another 6 shekels. It's great. Like, I love it when people come, when some people come and here say that, oh, how much you get funded by Zionists. They try to attack us by that, but it's always a reminder for people that they could financially support us, and then we get more support that way. So you try to attack us, but actually, by doing that, you increase our funding. Oh, look at this. So we have, but this doesn't show on the screen, but if you could look at it in the chat, you can see 2 flags of Israel. Bardo just gave us a $20 super chat with flags of Israel. So thank you, guys. Thank you to Gene and Bardo. You guys always, when somebody tells us that, oh, you're Zionist, you evil people are Zionist funded, they always come and there's some super chats, and it's just such a good response. And that person gets embarrassed because, you know what? Actually, by saying that, you helped us get more funding. You get, wait. Yes. Anyways, guys, thank you, Gene. Thank you, brother. That's very sweet. And thank you, Sohail and Nemo today for being behind the scenes, highlighting comments. Sohail, by the way, guys, is our new volunteer. Very much appreciating his work, highlighting your comments so you get to be part of the show. Your comments get to be part of the show. Anyways, guys, by the way, guys, this is why, if you didn't know, this is why I start with show with Shalom Shalom instead of saying hi everyone. I say Shalom Shalom because I love getting on the nerves of the enemies of Israel, right? When they hear me say Shalom, you have no idea the amount of butthurt they feel every time I say that. So that's why I start the show with saying Shalom Shalom. Because they think, like, when they say, like, oh, you're funded by Zionists, I'm like, oh my God, you got us. Like, instead of, it's actually the same philosophy of Atheist Day. The whole philosophy of Atheist Day is that there's a lot of animosity and hatred towards atheists worldwide. And instead of like hiding it, you want to come out and express it fully and without fear, to like, we're not going to back down. And also because there's a lot of hatred for Jewish people, and Zionism and Israel, every time I see such level of hatred, my philosophy is to just double it, just go all in. And that's why I start the show with Shalom Shalom. We're like, yeah, I'm not gonna hide, because I grew up in an environment where the word Zionist was such an evil, taboo thing to say, and now we're just go full in to show that we won't back down, right? And by the way, for people who don't know, the Atheist Day became an international day, and it started with our group. Us and a couple of other atheists got together, and we started it. And now it became officially is now recognized as the International Atheist Day. So, and that was basically my philosophy of never backing down. Whenever you're threatened, you just go all in. And also another Zionist atheist just gifted memberships to other people in the chat, and also more shekels by Dr. Tong. Thank you, guys. We're fully Zionist funded now. Thank you, guys. That's very sweet. Thank you, guys. That's amazing. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Don't forget to like the stream. Oh, we did under 2 hours. Great. I tried to do under 2 hours. Don't forget to like the stream. If you're new here, subscribe. If you've already subscribed, check if you have hit the bell notification. If you've done all of that, please also consider if it's safe for you to recommend this channel. Okay, I know we don't agree on everything here. There are many people here who are, not atheists. There are many people here who disagree with me on, I don't know, different things. For example, we lost some members over Trump recently, but a lot of you continue to stay here even though we disagree sometimes, because you don't need me to completely agree with you for this exchange to be valuable, right? And I appreciate that. Anyways, guys, bye, and thank you, Jean, thank you, Nima, thank you, Sohail, and thank you everyone in the chat that supported us and everyone who liked. All right, bye. Happy Atheist Day.